These testimonials are representative of my or our experiences, but the exact results and experience will be unique and individual to each person. The information provided herein is not medical advice and is not intended to substitute for the advice of your personal physician or other healthcare providers. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Beautiful Bag Podcast. I am your host, LeeAnne Hayden, coming to you from the loft. And as always, I want to say thank you so much for joining us each and every week. And do not forget, we really don't run ads here. So in order for us to get the word out, I need you guys to hit that subscribe button and share away. So this week, we have a special guest. Her name is Ann Marie. Now, Ann Marie has had 3 stomas, guys. So she's been in an ostomy 3 times. So we're going to have some great discussions around that. So Ann Marie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, very happy to have you. Very happy to have you. So, let's start talking about your journey, because your journey started 18 years ago and you found out all of this while you were pregnant. So let's discuss that.
Yeah, I was 27 and I was an avid runner, thought I was in the best shape of my life, got pregnant, and a month later couldn't get off the couch. And I, just couldn't eat. I was really sick and, started vomiting and, all the symptoms that come along with, what you think are early symptoms of pregnancy, but then got worse. And again, kept telling me it's just a pregnancy, but then it was really escalated. And finally, they said we'll put you in the hospital, ran some tests, and that's when they found out that I had colitis, which I didn't know I had at the time. And the hormones are what escalated it and brought it to the surface. So they kept me in the hospital and just, we'll monitor you, kept running tests. But one night I woke up in the most excruciating pain of my life. Like it was horrible. And they kept saying, oh, it's just in your head. It's in your head. And I'm like, it's not in my head. And, they did an x-ray just to appease me. And that's when they found out that my bowel had perforated and shred everywhere. So I was rushed into emergency surgery the next morning and, while I was pregnant, and had my large intestine and my appendix removed while I was pregnant. And while I was going into surgery, this intern was yelling at me for having the surgery, telling me that, I was selfish. And I'm like, well, if I don't have the surgery, I'm going to die. So intern, I have no choice. I wasn't having elective surgery. Right. So, I had an amazing surgeon who I still have to this day. I've had him for 18 years and he's amazing. So he, we joke to this day, he's like, I met your baby before you met her. And, she survived.
Crazy. Yeah,
it was
like that must have been absolutely crazy to think, I'm pregnant. Here is a child inside my womb, and I have to go in and have surgery because of the perforations to remove, which is all stomach, right? I mean, it's all like, how amazing is that surgeon to know exactly what to do, exactly how to do it, and keep you pregnant.
Exactly. He's like I'll never forget the day we met, and I was like so stubborn. I was like, I'm never going to need you. I'm never going to need you. I'm fine. And to this day we joke about it. And he's like, you're like my other daughter. Like he is just a phenomenal person. And I will never, we have the best relationship. And he is just, I don't know. It's crazy to think like what they can do, and, he the surgery, and I remember waking up in ICU and I looked down and I have this bag. And at the moment I was like, I don't remember thinking to myself, like, I don't remember thinking like, I just remember thinking, okay, I survived. I'm okay. And I don't even think I realized like, oh, the baby, like, is she okay? And until the next day. And he's like, yeah, she's fine. Everything's okay. Which is crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy that they can do that. And then so you go full term. Now you have an ostomy that you're dealing with. Now
I spent 4 months in the hospital, and I had to have another surgery while I was in the hospital because I had gotten a major infection. again, another complication. So they had to go in, operate again, once again while I'm pregnant. Um, and I went home 4 months, and then I went home with a wound vac. So here I am going home with a wound vac, um, and but I gave birth full term. She was very small, only 4'11", but I was full term. And honestly, being pregnant was horrible. I honestly had the worst. Like it wasn't enjoyable. It really wasn't. Like, it's not
How
what you
could it
expect for
be?
your first pregnancy. It's not like, oh, this is great. But I never forget. I did it with my husband. I'm like, the day I gave birth, like, but I gave a natural. Giving birth was easy. It was so easy. It was like after everything I'd been through, giving birth was like the easiest thing in the world. I did it naturally. There was nothing. And she didn't have to go to the NICU or anything. Even though she was little, she was okay. Um, so yeah, I waited a year, and then I had my reversal the next year.
Mhm.
Um, so, um, and that was a 2-part surgery again.
Mhm.
Um, surgeon created a J pouch internally. And I really thought, okay, I'm good. Like I went back to running. I did a marathon. Like I was, again, I really thought like, okay, and I had 2 more kids,
While you had a
but
J pouch,
then
you had two
yeah,
more kids.
yeah, I was, and things were good. Like, of course, I had a couple like bumps in the road, but nothing major. Like nothing that was like, okay, this is, you know, that I couldn't deal with.
Right.
It was my life. I adapted, and I was okay. Um, but only over the past couple of years did my life kind of go in the opposite direction. Um, and that's when I um, developed anal fissures so bad that it was it was unbearable. It was just like, and I think my body was just like, okay, this has been so hard. Like, and I think looking back, like, when you've lost your whole large intestine, like you go to the bathroom a lot, you know. So like my skin was breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. And so even though I tried things to like cut, reduce going to the bathroom, it still was a lot. Um, and that's like, I look at my bathroom and it looked like a medicine cabinet. I had like every ointment they made in the universe to try to like help you, and everything they recommend. And so like this is about 3 years ago it started. And finally, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like a prisoner of my own home. Like I couldn't leave. I was in so much pain. I was either sitting on ice constantly, or I just couldn't sit at all. It was so uncomfortable. Um, and so then last year of March, I had the ostomy surgery. I
Okay.
discussed it with the surgeon. He's like, we could do it. Like it'd be a temporary, just, give your skin some time to heal.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? I'd much rather be in an ostomy right now than deal with this. Like I can live with that.
Okay. So that was last March,
Yeah, that was just March, like just a year ago.
just a
And
year
I
ago.
did it.
Mhm.
And everything was fine. It went fine. And um, again, do you want to have an ostomy? No. But at least I could leave the house again. Like I was, I wasn't feeling like I was miserable every day of my life. Like I was in severe pain with that. Like it's no joke. Like the,
Now,
people like, it literally was a living, it was horrible. It was horrible.
I talk to so many people on this podcast, that have Crohn's and colitis, and the pain, the pain that they go through, and the not being able to leave the house, and having to know where bathrooms are at every point in time because you just don't know what's going to happen. It's unbelievable. And you guys have so much strength, I have to tell you. I mean, there's so much strength well, I mean, in what we all go through with having an ostomy, but I always look at it like, well, I just had cancer. I had a tumor, they took it out, and that was that. Now I have an ostomy. So I feel a little blessed, and I'll put that in quotes. Because the pain that I hear you guys talk about all the time is unreal. So this last year, you had an ostomy. They did this, so this would have been your second one.
Right.
Give your body some time to heal. And did they try and reconnect everything after that? And is that why you ended up with a third?
Yeah. So like I had the surgery in March, and it's like, no lie, within 2 days, I had no pain at all. Like the fissures were gone. It was insane. Like 2 days later, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, so I was fine. Like, so I went. He's like, let's just give your body some time, like to heal. So I waited till October,
Mhm.
had the surgery, and I'm not kidding you. Two, it was almost 2 weeks to the date. It was back, and they were the worst they'd had ever been. The fissures, and I was like, oh my gosh! Like I was, like, and then of course, like I regretted ever, having the surgery. Um, the pain was again, it was just unbearable. Like I mean, I couldn't sleep. I mean, I went days without sleeping because it was unbearable at night. I couldn't get comfortable. Um, and again, I have 3 kids. Like I'm trying to be a mom. I'm trying to be, a wife. And I was miserable. I was not a happy person to be around. Let me tell you that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it was like I said, I feel like it was the worst it had ever been. And so again, I regretted it, and I talked to my surgeon. He's like, there's no way I can go back in and operate this soon. He's like, your body, and as you know, the adhesions that I have in my body are just,
Mhm.
for me, I've had probably 10 abdominal surgeries, including C-sections. And I'm like, he's like, your body just needs time to heal. He's like, we can go down that hole again, but he's like, we need to wait.
Right.
So we waited as long as I could.
Right. And that was
Um,
how long? So this was October. So you just had your other surgery in
February
February?
12th.
Yeah.
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 Monday will be 6 weeks. And it was supposed to be in January, but I went in for my appointment, and he called me in his office, and I was like, this is not good. And he's like, I have to go to India to operate. And I was like, no, you do not. And he's like, yes, I do. And I was like, okay, God, somebody needs him more than I do. I know they do. And like, this is another lesson, like, to learn. But,
Mhm.
so it got pushed out another month, but that's okay.
Mhm.
And, the surgery went well. It was like a 6-hour surgery because it took 2 hours just to cut through all the adhesions to get in there again. And, so healing for me is always longer because it just, it hurts.
Right.
And this time he went like, he went in differently, of course. And, but everything went well. And, I didn't have any complications, so I'm blessed and grateful for that. And so this time I am in no hurry to get rid of this stoma. And I even said, like, I'm okay if this is permanent. Like, I'll be okay.
So what is the plan?
I don't know. And I said to him before, and I honestly didn't even ask. Like, I don't know if, like, down the road, if I say, okay, this is permanent, because I have an ileostomy, a loop ileostomy. Um, if he'll have to go in and do some things if I want to make it permanent, I'm not sure, because my output is like, it's different obviously with an ileostomy. It's constant, like it's just nonstop. I mean, and so I don't know if we'll have to go in and make some changes down the road if I do continue to keep it permanent. But regardless, I'd rather have to empty my bag 15 times a day than have to deal with what I dealt with before.
Exactly.
Because I mean, I can go right to a bathroom and empty my bag, then have to, I can leave the house. I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
Um, and everything is healed, with the fissures again. Um, so I'm again grateful for that. But man, what a learning experience. Like you just never know. I mean, I never in a million years thought that I would be in an ostomy again. I just honestly didn't think. I thought, when everything was repaired 18 years ago and it was done then, I thought, okay, I'm good. Like, here we go.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. But, and I think that everyone looks at an ostomy or a stoma as like, oh, that's just, not a good thing. But honestly, it has saved my life. It has given me my life back again,
Mhm.
because I I wasn't living. I wasn't.
Right. Right.
Um,
We say it on the show a lot. It's like, this is our second chance at life or third chance at life or whatever it is. And it definitely gives us a lot of the time, more than not, it gives us our lives back, because we can do things that we couldn't do before. Now I know people have complications, and I know skin irritations and all the other things that can happen, blockages and all of that that sometimes we have
Sure.
to deal with. But if we know about those things, we can figure out how to deal with it down the road. I think it's very difficult to deal with anything that's painful. Like when you're in pain, you can't think because your body's doing nothing but dealing with the pain.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, like this morning when I'm changing my bag and like it's just and I'm having an issue with it. I'm like, you know what, this is nothing compared to what I was dealing with, and I could it could be, I this is so not this is so simple compared to what it was.
Mhm.
Um, and like I said, and sometimes it's like, why I feel like I know everything happens for a reason, and that's just what I believe. And not everyone thinks that, but I do. And you know, this journey has been this journey's been hard. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's been extremely hard, but I am a strong person because of it. Like, and I think that, again, I hope that my kids see that. I hope that my kids can, or, people around me see that, like, that we grow from what we go through. And even if like I can just touch one person's life because of what I go through, it was worth it.
Mhm.
Um, and like I remember coming out when I first happened 18 years ago. I didn't know anybody at the time that even had an ostomy. I didn't know one person. And, I met this woman who to this day we're still friends, and she had the same situation while she was pregnant. Hers was permanent ostomy, but she just like led me through it all and just showed me the ropes. Like because I had no clue what I was doing. I was like, I am lost. I have no clue what I'm doing, and things were so different 18 years ago, than they are now. So again, like if I can just be there for one person, it's worth it.
Right. And you said something, I mean, we have to, regardless of whatever the situation is in our lives and what we're doing, we have no choice. We can't run around it. We can't go over it. We can't go under, we have to go through it
Right.
regardless of what it is. And when it's people like us or other situations, once you get through and get to the other side, you're like, oh, okay, now what can I go and do? And like you said, if it only touches one person, if you can touch one person and help one person, that changes everything. It changes the game for everything. It's the reason why I created this podcast to help people, period. And to let us all know that we're not alone. We're not by ourselves in the situation. And like you said, 18 years ago, it is definitely not what it was today. 8 years ago,
Mhm.
when I had mine, was not like it is today. You go on social media right now, and I know you're not on social media, which I was like, what? You are not on social
No,
media?
I'm not that normal person.
I like that though. Sometimes I wish I shouldn't be on social media, right? Sometimes I wish I can shut it off for a while.
Sure.
Sometimes I do. But when you go on social media now, there's so many people. I mean, these young kids changing their bags out in public, like not in public, but changing their bags and putting the
Yeah.
videos up and showing their stoma and people showing like, this is my life. This is what I'm going through. We're all learning together. Like, we're not alone. There's a lot
No.
more. And then the
And
research.
that's what I think I said to my youngest daughter. I have three daughters, and my youngest one's 9. And she originally made some comment, and I said to her, "Honey, I said when I walk into the grocery store, I said nobody knows that I have this. Nobody."
Mm-mm,
I said, and you know what? This is keeping me alive.
mhm,
And and I don't want her to ever be embarrassed or whatever. And she made some comment about me coming into school. I said, nobody at school will ever know that I have this. And I said, and it's okay. And I said, I will, and I want them to understand like why, and not to be, embarrassed or think that it's a weird thing or anything. Like, yeah, it's not, I'm not like the next person over there probably, but that's okay.
mhm,
And, I want them not to think that it's a weird thing or whatever, and to understand why we have it, and, what we go through. And because right now, actually, ironically, she's dealing with a lot of GI issues. And, we're going down that road. So it's like I said to her, I was like, if I can ever prevent you from going through what I've gone through,
mhm.
I will do it. So,
Exactly. And that's us as mothers. I mean, and we're not alone. There are, the statistics are there's 750,000 to 1 million people a year in the US alone in an ostomy. And there's
wow.
13.5 million globally in an ostomy. 13.5 million people walk around with an ostomy bag, and we would never know it. I remember 8 years ago when I had mine, when I was going through my surgery, and I'm like, no, I knew nobody. Like there wasn't a
Right.
single person. like you said, you met one person. Nobody.
Right.
And now
Exactly. And
13.5 million people around the globe. Okay.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
we're not alone, even though like there are times you're just like, there's, you look around like, well, my neighbor, there's nobody around me right now, but we're not alone.
Mhm.
And there are so many more resources and, things that, we didn't have years ago. So I am grateful for that. And, like I said, it's okay. And I'm okay with where I'm at. Cause I think like where I was last year at this time, I was like, I don't want this stem. I don't want this. I don't want this ostomy anymore. Like, but seeing what I when I reversed it and then what happened again, like dear Lord, I'm just grateful because here I am and I'm grateful for my surgeon. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to go back to an ostomy because if I didn't, I'd be in pain every day.
Mhm.
So
And
I'm
that's
okay
no
with
way to
it.
live. And that's no way to live. And so speaking of all that, I mean, you're only 6 weeks healed, so you can't exercise yet, but are you planning on getting back into running and getting back into?
Yeah, I am. I'm like a religious, like I work out, religiously. And so that's like driving me crazy. But because I'm starting to feel good, like back to almost where I've been walking every day, which has been good. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I'll get back to working out again. And because for me, it's a lot of it's mental, a lot of that's the physical part of it. But I love it, and I think that's obviously helped me heal faster. And yeah, I enjoy it. So that's part of my routine. I haven't been running many races anymore, but that's okay. I just do it for me, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
just to stay in shape. But it's crazy how you're like when you have this and your life changes and just like the nutrition part of it and everything that you eat and don't eat and like all that, like again, just trying to figure out you know, what your body needs and doesn't need anymore and just the hydration part of it and just making sure like okay, this is what I need and don't need anymore. And so I'm just kind of learning that journey again because I feel like even though like I didn't have the ostomy, like things were a little bit different before and what I could eat, now
Mhm.
I'm kind of back to where I am again, just trying to learn those ropes. So
Right. And like we said when we were talking earlier, and then there's the threat of the adhesions that you do have from all the surgeries that you've had. So you have to just be careful. Just be careful and cautious. And if something's going on, if you're getting cramps, if something just doesn't feel right, go in and tell them, I think I might have a blockage or something's up. And
right,
here's the situation. Just like you said, I mean, 18 years ago, they appeased you by giving you an x-ray. Nowadays, I think they're a little more knowledgeable
right,
because of all the people that you hear who have Crohn's or colitis or something going on, which makes me question what in the world is going on, that there's
exactly.
more and more of this happening. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. Um, but they're more knowledgeable, but just be cautious and aware. So, with all of the things that you've been through, what would what would you want to share with the audience aside from your story? What would you want to say to them?
I mean, I have a lot, but I feel like the one thing that you know, have always day in and day out, no matter what kind of day I'm having, um, is that I always have believed in like, you know what, on the hardest days, you are strong. And, because there was days I'm like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. God, I don't know. But you always have that inner strength inside of you that will keep you going on the hardest days. And you'll amaze yourself. You really, truly will. And I wouldn't be here without it because there have been some really, really rough days. Um, and I'm grateful for every day that I have. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, I'm grateful for it. And I just think you need to lean on that some days because not everybody's gonna even like after you've gone through all your surgery or whatever, and you do feel good, you're still gonna have a bad day. You're still
Mhm,
gonna have a bump in the road down the road. So I think you need to remember like you are strong and you will get through this.
mhm. And it's that resilience, right? We end up with this strength and this resilience that we've never known that we've had before.
Right.
Because we've been
Exactly.
through something that was, you know, not traditional. And it
No,
was
not at
hard.
all.
No. and it was hard, and we were going through it. So what are your plans now? So what, do you have any plans? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I feel like I just want to be able to like, go away. Like, we haven't traveled recently, and not that we're like huge travelers, but like it would just be nice to be like, we're gonna go away, and I'm not gonna be worried. I'm not gonna be concerned that I'm gonna be uncomfortable or I'm gonna be in pain. Like, because I couldn't like I don't want to go anywhere because I couldn't sit for long. I couldn't be, whatever. So we haven't traveled for the past couple, years, and my kids enjoy that, and they're 9, 12, and 17. So I just want to enjoy my life, and I want to, live in the moment. I want to be able to do things and not be like, okay, I can't do it because I'm uncomfortable or I'm, in pain. So we'll see what happens. And our girls are very active, so they're busy, and I've missed out on a lot of things with them, which it hurts as a mom, to miss out on things with them. So I'm hoping that I can be more present in their lives.
And I'm sure and you will be. I am sure you will be. I will pray that you will be healthy and happy and getting your life back and being able to do all the things that you love. Anne Marie, I thank you so much for being here with us today and for sharing your journey and what you went through, and still in awe at the surgeon to be able to go in while you're pregnant. And
And he's
we know
amazing. He really is. He's just, yeah, I still to this day, I'm just like, you are. I always say, like, if you need someone to take your colon out, he's the guy because he's amazing. He truly is. And he's a goofball, but he honestly is just a phenomenal person. And I'm forever grateful for him. So
Mhm. Yeah, they're
I
in
think
our
God places people in your life for a reason. And, like I said, everything happens for a reason.
Yep, it really does. And he has our back. He has our
Yes.
back. He does. He does for sure. So Anne Marie, thank you again so much. I'm so grateful for you to being here this week, this with us and sharing your journey and everything that you go through. And like I said, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be great. Can't wait to follow up with you over time and hear how your journey's again going on. I'm sure we'll have you back on the podcast so you can share what you've been able to do now that you're on your third one and maybe your final. Third
Time
and
will tell, right?
time will
Thank
tell.
you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really, I'm glad I was able to share. It means a lot.
It does. It does. So thank you.